talk about everything, play music in between. Tune in and enjoy Chad's underground scene. Talking music, you know what I mean. Tune in and enjoy Chad's underground scene.
Welcome to Chad's Underground Scene with my special guest today, Gary Golding, the Tarzan of Los Angeles. How
Hello
you doing,
there,
Gary?
Hello, I'm good. How you doing?
I hear you just came from some kayaking. How did that go today?
I took some people kayaking actually out in PV out here, and I taught some girls how to snorkel and harvest sea urchins, and we ate them off the ocean floor.
Sweet.
Cool. Yeah,
Sweet.
Yeah, it's cool. Uni fresh out of
That's
the
a
ocean.
good day, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
a good day in the year.
Yeah, you know, we all gotta earn a living. You know?
So we're going to start the show with your philosophy of what goes on Earth and what you think we should all do. Tell us all about it. You've got it tattooed on you. You have it on your shirt
it's
here.
tattooed. This is tattooed on my back, actually, because I'm on a challenge on in mainstream media called Naked and Afraid, and I got this tattooed on my back by Jeff Tillman. I don't know if you
Oh yeah, I know Jeff Tillman.
Yeah.
I have a jacket in here that he painted.
Yeah. So Jeff, it was great to have a local boy tattoo, a friend tattoo this message on my back: consume as little as possible. And you know what happened is, on my first, I'm the only cast member that has been allowed to have his logo on his clothing from the first episode to the last, who has a message. And when I knew I was going to go to Africa for 10 to 12 episodes, and I'd be seen by, I was told it was 91 million people on Earth, I knew that I just had to get this tattooed on my back. I owed it to the world. I believe in it that much that now that I was really going to be in mainstream media a lot, that I was going to carry a message to the world, I went and had this blasted on my back real big.
Awesome. Okay, so we are going to cut to a video of Gary Golding on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Tell us how to find the YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. My YouTube channel is Gary Golding, or Tarzan of Los Angeles. You subscribe to it. I'm doing stuff like kayaking with whales and snorkeling with sea lions and all kinds of stuff. But I also do stuff where I carry a message, talk about the message. Yeah.
And this video is going to tell you all about the message. Enjoy the video.
Oh, yes. This is a video about my vision. I have a vision. I want to see a day when the man with the least amount of possessions is the most admired. A day when a woman is ashamed to hold out her finger with a rock on it and say, "Look what he got me." That should have nothing to do with love. I want to see the day when being a minimalist is fashionable and sexy. A day when the man or woman who consumes the least is the most attractive. Is that so controversial?
Okay, now we're going to break into a song for me. This is a song that goes back a little ways from a band I was in, Love Dog. I wrote this song when I was in Love Dog.
Wait, hold on. Love Dog.
Love Dog.
You got a dog.
And the dog runs into this.
You got a dog in your lap.
This is Albus.
Love Dog. Perfect song for this right here. Look at this guy.
And this kind of suits some of what his philosophy is about as well. This is called No Way Out, because if you don't do what he's saying, there'll be no way out.
Actually, yeah. We're in extreme times. And I mean, look, one thing I want to drive home though is I'm not like a fear monger in this area where I don't believe in this whole Green New Deal type crap. I want Americans to have freedom. You want to drive a fossil fuel car, you drive a gas car. You want to drive an electric one, you have freedom, but you just do it, you're just conscious of doing it as little as possible. I'm not the extremist where I want to tell you what you should be driving, what you should be eating. You know what I mean?
But you want us all to chip in and help out.
All to chip in and just consume as little as
just
possible.
Make it better
if
for
you
everybody.
don't want them to stop making using bottled water and bottling up the water in plastic, just don't buy bottled water.
Right.
Stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's all about
Put it
us
in your
having
own
the freedom of
container
choice.
and wash your container and use it over.
Stuff like that.
And every little bit helps.
Yeah,
obviously.
every bit, yeah.
And this is called No Way Out.
Tension. Can you feel it? The monsters in my head. They come to life. They whisper in my ear. What do they say? I said, no one gets out of here alive. There's no way out. No way out. There's no way out. No way out. I said, waking up can be such a chore. Daily life can be such a bore. Well, I do it every day, and I wonder what the hell for. Killing time and knocking on my door. No way out. No way out. I said there's no way out. No way out. Said there's no way out, no way out. There's no way out, no way out. I'm still looking, no way out, and I'm still trying, no way out, no way out. No way out. So be careful out there.
There's no way out of this little box we're in.
So tell us some of the things we can do to help consume as little as possible.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's this cool thing that woke me up when I saw a documentary called The Price of Sugar. And then when I saw that even our sugar to this very day comes from Haitian slaves in the Dominican Republic, like even what you put in your coffee, and it's everything. It's not just meat, it's not just fossil fuel. Everybody focuses on plastic. You know, everything's like a hammer. Plastic, there was a lot of medical advances that saved a lot of lives where they used plastic. So plastic's not bad, it's just bad if you use it too much. A hammer could bash in a head, or a hammer could build a home, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Capitalism could be used for negative, or capitalism can also bring people out of poverty. So it's how you use everything, really. And we got this narrative that fossil fuels are bad. Says us people that have been flourishing, and there's almost 8 billion of us using fossil fuel. Really, it's like, no, fossil fuel's not bad, and how ungrateful are we, right? It's like, just use as little of it as possible.
Right. Yeah. That's. I agree on that.
I mean, wait, hold on. Didn't you used to work? Did you work in the oil business?
Yes, I worked at an oil company. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had people tell me, "Well, you would hate me. I work in oil and stuff like that." And I said, "No, I'm not that kind of environmentalist. You know, I'm realistic about what oil has benefited my life a lot, right? And plastic has benefited my life, but I still try to use as little as possible."
Right, and I think that's the key is moderation, right? Don't do things you don't need to do, right?
Yeah, and I even take it a step further than moderation. That's like the sort of the Buddhist, where it's the middle way. I actually go. I say it needs to be taken further and it needs to be done as little as possible.
Right, and you do it yourself.
Yeah,
I've seen all the things you do. You save bees. Anybody I know that has a bee problem, I send them to you, and you go and you rescue their bees for them.
Well, you know, it's funny. I get attacked a lot. People always go, "Well, you have a cell phone and you have a car," and I said, "Hey, look, I don't own the sentence "do not consume."
Right, yeah,
I know that
yeah.
you got to take the kids to school. You got to use your phone to communicate. I'm not asking people to live like a caveman. And the thing is this. It's kind of like this. It's like I use my phone. I get a call to go teach children or to go save bees, and my car is used to go save bees. So it's how we use everything really. And so one thing I want to like drive home is it's kind of like I said, I don't own the sentence "do not consume," but I do focus on something called the evil trinity of tradition. And what I do go after a lot is jewelry, balloons, and fireworks. Things that you just stare at just because they're shiny. Now those I'm hard on because, you don't need to drive this kid to school with some fireworks. You don't got to buy them. There's a Mylar balloon factory that produces 600,000 Mylar balloons a day. That's
a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot, right? Mother's Day, they're going to be hitting the earth, a whole bunch of them. That's the way you thank your mother, Earth, by throwing a bunch of balloons all over her. So I want people to just think about that. And oh, fascinating fact: the lady that started Mother's Day, she spent the rest of her life trying to get it to not be a national holiday, and she would write to when she saw how it got commercialized, she regretted that she even, I forget her name, but look into it, research it. The lady that started Mother's Day hated what it turned into, the commercial version, and she tried to get it taken away as a national holiday.
So tell us a little bit about Naked and Afraid. That's a show you've been on, and you're always pushing your message on the show to help spread your message.
Yeah, I got lucky, and I that's one of those challenges. That show is one of those things where I'm the type of guy, the way I live my life, all nature and minimalistic. People would be like, "Oh man, this is perfect for you." So it was one of those things where people were telling me, "You got to do this," and then it just happened. I saved that life in Palos Verdes in the ocean, and I went viral. And someone that worked down there saw me, and they kind of approached me, and so here it was. I saved a life in nature, right? And then I end up on a show about nature where you have almost nothing, consume almost nothing, and carrying a message about consuming as little as possible, and it just seemed like it was perfect.
And you're a true nature person, because I've seen, we've been in different places, and you'll just pick up a flower off the ground and eat it.
Oh yeah, or even
and I would know which ones that I could just pick up and eat, which is probably a lot of them.
Yeah, and even bugs,
And yeah,
I mean, if you really wanted to, you could take your grass if it has no insecticides, and you could take grass and just juice it like wheatgrass. It's still grass. It's really about the chlorophyll and the vitamins.
but then you might be out in the corner of the yard like the dog after he eats the grass.
Yeah, you'll be puking in your bed.
But I feel much better now. So we've got a song here, and it kind of applies to that. It's called Animal. And tell us a little bit, because you and I go way back, and this band was a band you played in.
Yeah, I've been in one band in my life. I was in a band years ago. I sang in a band over 20 years called Too Loose. And I was like known for doing backflips off of like roofs of houses and stuff. I was a very physical performer, very dramatic performer. And so this song was sort of just about like raw attraction, just like how you can't really help it. It's just like an animalistic thing. You're not in control of what you're attracted to type thing. And God, it's been so long since I played it, but this was actually a fan favorite because it was pretty kind of catchy and straight ahead. And I remember playing the song, kids would be in the audience singing this song, "I'm an animal."
Oh yeah, and there were some really cool clubs at that time.
Oh God,
we played at so many cool little clubs. Frogs was one of my favorites.
Frogs, and then I started playing at the Strand down here.
Yeah, Strand. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like, I think the 90s were like my band was on fire.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then so that's where I was having fun locally.
Yeah, and we played a few shows together. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
And then it's funny. I played shows with Chad, but I didn't remember from years ago. And then
Yeah, at that time we'd say hi, hang out, have a good time,
Yeah.
and party, and it's a good time.
because so much was going on.
And so many people got together, and we all just said, "Hey, it's our buddies. That's my buddies. These are our buddies," and just went out and had a great time.
Yeah, what a gift it was to be in
Those
a
are good
time
times
where
to
we could
grow
play
up, yeah.
live
80s and
music.
90s
Yeah.
were awesome.
Oh, it was insanely fun. We were free as can be, you know. So I don't know. So here we go. I guess we could give this a shot. Wait, hold on. Play it a little harder. Yeah, get that. Rah! Rah! All this fascination, this deep attraction, this intense infatuation. I tell you, girl, it's a primal thing. It makes me wanna strut, it makes me wanna sing. All this feeling I can't explain. I think that it is an animal thing. Eyes like a cat, lips like a fish. I roar like a lion, honey, what's your wish? Find out why they call me an animal. I'm 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 feeling rabid and crazy, yeah. My teeth are starting to chatter, and nothing else really matters. All this fascination, this deep attraction, this intense infatuation. I tell you, girl, it's a primal thing. It makes me wanna strut, it makes me wanna sing. All this feeling I can't explain. I tell you, girl, it's an animal thing. Eyes like a cat, lips like a fish. I roar like a lion, honey, what's your wish? Find out why they call me an animal. I'm an animal. I'm an animal. I'm an animal. Hey, we're getting carried away. I tell you, sometimes I sink low into the grass like a predator. And I just sneak up on my prey. And I come up on them and I'm just thinking, all this fascination, this deep attraction, this intense infatuation. I tell you, girl, it's a primal thing. It makes me wanna strut, it makes me wanna sing. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Eyes like a cat, lips like a fish. I roll like a lion, honey, what's your wish? Find out why they call me an animal. I'm an animal.
Nice.
Well, that
All
was
right.
kind of, that was a, you know,
That's what we did in the 90s.
a little bit of a crappy version as far as like I haven't sung it in a while, and and he never
And I never played.
Yeah, he's never played it with me ever before, but that was fun. That gives you an idea of what it was.
That's right. Tell us one more time how to get everything, how to find you on the internet.
Well,
And tell us a little bit about your show, Naked and Afraid, and where to find it and when it'll be played on there.
you know, it's funny. This song "Animal," I thought about it when I was out there
Yeah.
in the wild on Naked and Afraid, and I thought, like, I'm an animal because I'm out there actually living like an animal.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Sleeping in the dirt and running from elephants and stuff. But you can find me at GaryGolding.com or TarzanOfLosAngeles.com, and I give people custom tours, and I also. I'm also a teacher, and I educate children. I do assemblies and appearances, and you know, I specialize. I'm good with kids, believe it or
Yeah,
not.
so tell us about both of those. Tell us about your tours and how those work, and tell us about your teaching.
Well, the tours are kind of just customized tours. Where if you want to go out in nature in California, like I show LA, people don't imagine in Los Angeles that you kayak with whales.
Yeah.
Every time they come here, dude, they go to like the Hollywood Walk of Fame and take pictures of people's
Yeah.
names on the sidewalk, right? I'm like going, do you want to come to LA and like have whales swim up to you and do stuff like that? Because I'll show you Los Angeles like no one
Yeah.
else can, not the typical tourist crap, right?
And then you could go up in the hills and see wild animals, right? It's
Yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah, and I just bought myself 6 acres of land, but that's far away from LA. But it's like I do all kinds of custom tours up and down California, and I basically show people the paradise that we're born in. Well, I'm born. Are you born here?
Yeah, I was born in Torrance.
Yeah, born in Torrance. I'm born in Redondo. So the paradise that me and Chad are born
right,
in, and
yeah.
you know, when I'm my teenage years is when you remember when you bitch and moan about everything when you're a teenager. And then I got a little older, and I was like, I better shut my mouth. I was born in paradise.
Oh yeah, I would go down to the baseball field by my house, and it was like an old swamp, and
Wait,
they put a baseball
which
field
baseball
there.
field?
It's
Intradero?
yeah, right down yeah.
Intradero?
Yeah. And they had pollywogs
Yeah.
and frogs
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, dude, I know.
And we'd
In the middle of where
we'd
we
spend
live.
the whole day in there.
Yeah.
And then I'd come home, and I'd bring plastic bags with me, and I'd bring home the pollywogs and put them in a tank, and we'd watch them turn into frogs, right? And
Yeah,
hatch.
I did that too growing up. There, you know, right here in the middle of these cities, we used to have frogs and pollywogs. It's not, you know, you don't hear about it hardly anymore.
And then on a good day, I could sit there, keep score at a baseball game, and they would give me, I think it was like 25 cents, and they would give me free lunch at the little bar, the food bar,
The snack
and
bar
yeah,
there
snack
at the
bar, yeah.
baseball field, yeah. Yeah, that was fun stuff.
And then I would bring my pollywogs home, and
That was back in the Bad News days, the Bad News Bears
Yeah, oh,
days.
yeah.
Remember the movie came out? Like, baseball was like a thing for all
Yeah.
of us, and yeah, that was everybody wanted to be like Tanner. Tanner was the little
That's
guy that
right.
fought everybody.
That's right.
Tanner was cool. The little Bad News Bears. He was like the little feisty one that got in fights all the time. That was me. Yeah, I remember getting in fights with the other kids.
That was me.
Yeah, because I was smaller, and I was like, I had to like make sure I made it known that I'll fight you if you call me names.
So tell us a little bit about Naked and Afraid, and maybe some of the craziest experiences you had on Naked and Afraid.
Oh man, okay, I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell
Because
you.
I watched some crazy things that happened on there while you were on the
I had
show.
an infection cut out of my back. That was pretty crazy. I got an infection cut on my back right in the middle of the jungle because they thought I was going to get gangrene, and I have a permanent scar on my back, and then I just continued on, and then on that was my alone challenge. On that same challenge, I had to. I'll tell you a funny story. When we first got there, there's this beautiful emerald green, like little small lake, but it's like a river, but it's barely moving. And so I go, wow, this is so awesome. I'm gonna go out there and swim around. So I go out there, and I'm floating on my back. I'm swimming around, and then the local expert that's there, he goes, Gary, take your machete out there with you. And I'm like going, I'm thinking to myself, why would I want to take my machete out for a swim, right? Right. And so I'm a little bit like, but that's like a signal to me too. I'm like, huh? And then
You never know.
yeah, and then I look up, and I see there's a medic. She's a doctor, and I see her like going like, and go to like one of the producers, assistant producer, and be like, I don't know. And she's like, and she's looking like this guy's, and I pick up on she's thinking I'm weird, and so I realize, so I'm out there floating around and just totally going for it. And then I find out the next day they told me that there's a 10-foot crocodile out there.
That's in the
Yeah, it's in the water. So I was really, and I'm setting up these shots with the cameraman, and I'm telling him, get the drone, I'll float on my back, you start on my face and raise up, and then the jungle will come into play, and I'm setting up all these shots, you know, because I set up a lot of my own like shots and stuff out there
Right,
too.
yeah.
And then I found out the next day I'm out there floating around with a 10-foot crocodile down in the water.
Sweet.
Yeah, and so I'm like, that's real. I mean, I really. And then on the extraction, I had to swim across the river with 2 crocodiles in the water while I swam across.
Oh, beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, and I really did that. That was like a bucket list thing. And I lived off of tarantulas. I ate tarantulas, mostly tarantulas
sweet.
out there, and that was a cool one. You know, I've
So do you
ended
cook
up
the
in the
tarantulas?
hospital.
You cook them?
Yeah, you got to cook them because
Yeah.
the hairs will irritate you. They're like pepper spray.
And when you cook them, you can pull all the hairs out?
No, you singe them off, and then you could eat it.
Oh, you burn them off.
Yeah,
Okay.
and what I'm known for on the challenge is I'm that one survivalist that eats tarantulas like they're cookies and maggots like
Well, then the several that I watched, you really knew how to go find different things, fruit, and you knew what to eat, right? You
Yeah,
knew the
yeah.
plants that you could just go eat, right? You could pick those, and
I coined a phrase, like that's what I was saying.
and when you couldn't find anything live that you could get, you were getting stuff you could live off of to get you through to the next
Oh,
thing.
absolutely,
Right?
yeah. And then people ask me, how do you eat tarantulas, like you were saying? And what you do is you singe the hairs off, and then you hold it by the fangs, the way I would do it. And I would just eat the whole thing. And
So that
pick
you
your
don't get
teeth-
the fangs in your mouth.
Yeah, because its fangs are hard.
Yeah.
And pick your teeth with the fangs. And then I would, so that's what I say, I could eat tarantulas like they're cookies and maggots like they're ice cream. and then I even coined a phrase that they use on there, and I mean this because this is like the base level of survival. If you're not willing to eat maggots, you don't really want to survive. If you're not willing to eat maggots, you're not really a survivalist. And so, because if it was life or death, and you had a pile
Right.
of maggots there, you better eat the maggots.
I remember
So
you-
when I'm out there, I deliver. I really deliver. You know, I'm out there living like it's life or death.
I remember, what was it, Yul Gibbons that ate all natural. It's
Oh, yeah.
He did all of that stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I remember Yul Gibbons. Yeah.
He was doing all that. Okay, we are going to break into a little video with Gary Golding.
All right.
Enjoy the video.
Wait. All right. Let's check this out. This should be interesting.
No, I think Gary's a stud. He wants the eyes and he wants the brain.
I've killed a lot of animals and I've never ate the brain.
Got brain pudding for you.
Me and Trent ain't never seen no like that before.
Impala brain, gentlemen.
You just went all in there.
Yeah, it's good because it's so soft.
Yeah, you lying some
What's the
bitch
flavor?
too. I see it in your eyes. That's why you swallowed it. Cause something good I keep in my mouth and I taste it. This old boy is not gonna eat any damn eyeball out here.
I'm already thinking ahead, you know. You never really know where your next meal is going to come from or if it's going to come. I always plan for the worst, hope for the best. Brains, eyeball, I'm already operating in that zone. So that way, when it comes down to the worst, it might even still feel like the best to me.
Okay, we are back. And we have something really special
What'd you
for
guys think of that video?
Yeah. Pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what the heck happened.
So first, can you tell us what your name is?
My name is Chad Carrier.
And what bands did you play with back in the day?
Yeah, that's perfect. We'll go with, I played with Easter, I played with Zombie Sluts from Hell, and also with Love Dog.
And how did it start? Can you provide us some background on the 80s or 70s or 90s, how it was back in the day?
Yeah, it all started, we were in a bunch of punk bands. The Easter was a conglomeration of a bunch of guys that were in different punk bands. We were in a band Anti, we were in the Detonators, a whole bunch of different bands. And we got together and we always knew each other because we played different gigs, Cathay de Grand, different clubs down in Hollywood. And we would say hi to each other and hang out with each other, have a good time, go out back, have a beer in the alley. And we kept in touch. And then one day, my buddy from the Detonators, Corky, he tells me, hey, Chad, I'm in a new band. We got a bunch of different punks together and we're looking for a bass player. Did you want to join the band? You want to try out? I said, yeah, that sounds great. I'd love to do that. So we ended up, I went in and did a little tryout with them and joined the band. And the name Easter standed for New Beginning, right? So it was New Beginning. We were all in different punk bands and we wanted to do something different. We didn't want to just do thrash and scream and yell. We were a little biased. We wanted more girls at our shows. So we played a little bit funner stuff, a little bit more rockabilly sounding, a little more like maybe Billy Idol, I would say, or Gen X at that time. And maybe X, that type of stuff. And then we started the band Easter.
And what did you guys sing about? What were your influences?
Our influences were a little bit of everything. Everybody, I think just about everybody in the punk scene out here in LA, in Orange County, in the whole area, and even anywhere in the US, I would say, our influence was a lot of like old stuff, like Johnny Cash, and then also the English, all the English punk rock. We were into it, right? We dug the Sex Pistols, we dug the Clash, we liked all that stuff, and Easter really liked it. We have songs that are, you know, have some real influences coming from the Clash, Stiff Little Fingers, 999, and we just pushed it to a different level of play for what we like to do. We just put everything together that we liked, and we made songs with that.
Back in the day, was there a big difference between Los Angeles punk and let's say Orange County punk? Was there some kind of culture clash back in the day?
There wasn't a clash, there was a difference. There was a difference. I think the LA scene, I would probably say, was a little more serious. The bands were a little more serious, a little more intense. Orange County, a little more fun, a little more excitement, and just, hey, this is fun time. But they kind of accepted each other into each other's scene. The LA bands would go out and play in Orange County. Orange County bands, a lot of them were able to play in LA. Some, they were a little bit intimidated by it. But I was caught in the middle. I was growing up in the South Bay in Torrance. I was basically, they said, oh, you're an LA Hollywood band. But then when I went out to Orange County, they would say, oh, you're an Orange County band. So we get to play on both sides of it. It was fun. It was a good deal for us.
And you had some measure of success with Easter. Can you tell us what that was like?
Yes, it was a very fun and interesting ride. We started out just playing punk shows in the punk underground scene, And then we got signed to a record label called Chameleon, and we put out a record. And at that time, we brought on a new guitar player, Mike Ness from Social Distortion. He came into our band and started playing with us, and he had some issues with drugs, and he was trying to get off drugs, and he said, hey, you guys seem to be pretty straight. You don't do any drugs, you might do some drinking. He goes, would it be all right if I joined your band? And we said, yeah, that sounds great. We need a guitar player. And it was funny because at that time our guitar player was having some drug issues. So he said, I don't want to hold you guys back anymore. We got a record deal, you got everything going. I don't want to hold you back. So he exited the band and he went back to Philly to try to dry up from the drugs. And then Mike Ness joined us. And then we put out our record and we got a hit on K-Rock, a local station in LA. And then also at 91X. And then we proceeded to start playing with Mike Ness as our guitar player.
And what kind of venues did you guys usually play in back in the day?
So we played anything and everything. One of our favorites was in Orange County was the Doll Hut. And we played a really big show there, a couple actually, at the Celebrity Theater. And at the same time as we had a hit going on K-Rock, Dramarama had one. So we played a show at Celebrity Theater with Dramarama and with Mary's Danish. It was the three of the bands together. That was an awesome show.
And how did the general public treat you guys? Were you guys seen as like outsiders or like strange, for example? Like how did people that weren't in the punk scene treat you guys or see you guys?
It was kind of all over the place. We were really accepted into the Orange County scene, which was nice, and the Hollywood scene. So there were certain shows though where you played where there was certain styles that people had opinions on, and the punk scene started to divide a little bit when you got into the mid and the late 80s, where they were saying, hey, you don't play hard enough, you don't play this right, you don't play that right, and people started having disagreements. But we stayed to our true punk values, and we went to the shows and we played, and we were actually at some of the shows, we played some really hard punk shows where all the other bands were really hard bands. And when we got up there, the crowd would get riled up because we're not playing that really hard stuff, but they were riled up, and that's punk rock. Punk rock was getting out there, making a statement and doing what you love, no matter what the result was.
And how did you see punk as a music genre or an attitude? What does punk mean to you?
I think it's a mix of all of it. I think the attitude itself and the punk, the way I look at it is doing what you want and not caring about what everybody thinks about it. You just go out there and you do it. Don't worry about what they're saying. Don't worry about what they're thinking. Do what you want to do, and the people that like it will be into it. They'll dig it.
And how did the cops treat you guys back in the day?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of things going on with the cops because they were going out sometimes to actually cause some trouble. They would come out, they'd know a show was going on, they go, oh, this band, Adolescence is playing, this band's playing, we're going to show up and we're going to stop that show. And they would be ready early on, and as soon as the show started, they're waiting for any excuse. And they break it down because they're getting a lot of complaints, people saying that punk rock it kind of goes all the way back to Elvis. They were like, it's the devil's music, you need to stop this. And so there was a lot of different opinions on that. There was one great show where we played at a place called Safari Sam's in Huntington Beach. And we played with the guy that did The Letter with Alex Chilton. He was the headliner and we were opening for him. And it just happened that weekend was the weekend that they had the Huntington Beach riots. And we finished the show, we watched Alex Chilton, who was awesome. And then after the show, we walk outside and we're like, oh my God, and there's fires around and there's police cars everywhere and people throwing stuff and there's fireworks and they're turning over cars. And then the next day we get up and we're reading the newspaper and it says Orange County Band Easter causes riot. And we're like, what? They caused this riot. They played Safari Sam's, and then this whole riot broke out on the beach, and I don't think it had anything to do with us.
Wow, amazing. And do you feel like you've changed over the last couple of years? Like, how would you describe your current incarnation in your artistic journey?
Well, with me, it's kind of always been change. I've played in different bands, played solo stuff, and I've played different music because I just play what's in my heart, what I love. I just go with it. I go with it. Sometimes I play something hard, sometimes I play something softer and more heartfelt. But I just play what I like and what I want, and then there's a lot of people that enjoy that. And then to the true punk rock mentality, I go, if you don't like it, then fuck off.
Yes. Beautiful.
And so over the years, I went from, in that scene, I was in 3-4 different bands that are pretty hard punk. And then I also played in a 10-piece like bebop jazz band for a while. And that was super fun. That was called CC and the Jackpot Prize. And we had a great time. It's like a review where we had the horn section and the whole thing. And it was pretty heavy. That's pretty heavy stuff. They say punk rock, a lot of people are like, punk rock has to be just like this, has to be hard guitars and hard. I'll tell you what, like I was saying, Johnny Cash is punk rock. James Brown is so punk rock.
Beethoven even? You
Yes.
don't follow the rules.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah. Punk rock just means you're going on the edge, man. You're doing it at the edge of whatever you're doing.
John Lydon made a public image, which was different. You know,
Then cut. So when he's talking, you cannot interrupt him or say something else because you don't have a mic.
Yeah.
So when he's gonna be like trying to listen to something.
Yeah.
So let him finish whatever he has to say, and then you can speak.
I'll give it just like you're on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you cannot have an interview because you're not.
Yeah.
So you want.
Because you have to cut that out and
Yeah,
put
no, it's okay.
You
It's
have to
okay.
redo this question again, the last question.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll go right back to
And
it.
then just ask, and then let him finish, and then you can ask again.
Okay.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
So, do you feel like you've changed over the last couple of years? Are you different than your previous incarnation many years ago?
I would say yes and no, both things, because I change sometimes, and then sometimes I'm the same, and sometimes I reach back and I grab some of the influence I had earlier on, and then I redo it in a different way, or I do it in the same way with different chords, or there's a lot of different things going on in my brain.
Beautiful. What do you call it? I think for everything that we've done, I would really like to use your song Legend in My Mind. Do you think you can play that one for us?
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. So this is a song that I wrote about the scene in the 80s and 90s, back in the day when I was out on the street in Hollywood and Long Beach and Santa Monica and also in Orange County. This is a song called Legend, and it's on it's on a couple records. It's on one of the records with the band I'm in right now, which is called Big Mess. We've been together about 15 years, have 8 records out, and I put this on one of their records as well as my first acoustic record. This is called Legend. And you're going to hear a lot of familiar places if you were hanging out in the scene in the 80s and 90s. I remember all the fun we had at the Cathay Day Grand. Faster the better, louder the band. Drinking beer from tin cans, talking to a friend. We would do it all again. Thought it would never end. I'm a legend in my time, legend in my mind. I'm a legend in my time, legend in my mind. I'm a legend in my time.
legend in my mind. Remember Fender's Ballroom and the Santa Monica Civic? We always played so loud, man, we could kick it. The floor was a swirling, the pit it was so hard. Tattoos and leather, such a good looking crowd. I'm a legend in my time, legend in my mind. I'm a legend in my time, legend in my mind. I'm a legend in my time, legend in my mind. Our favorite bands, Stiff Little Fingers, 999, all of their fans. 3 clubs a night, and canters with your friends. We would do it all again, thought it would never end. I'm a legend in my time, legend in my mind. I'm a legend in my time, legend in my mind. I'm a legend in my time, legend in my mind. Legend. Talk about everything, play music in between. Tune in and enjoy Chad's underground scene.